Blowtorch fish. I will tell you, that is an experience. I will never forget that as long as I live. The best fish I've ever had.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, anything that's like smoke like that, blowtorch. I
know.
So envious. I'm gonna go buy fish right after this and get a blowtorch and see.
I know.
Yeah.
And of course the toilets. That was the experience. And it's always.
Was it a hole? Was it a hole? And then you actually have to.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have to get into details, but.
And I am back with another wonderful episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill, and I'm your host. Today's guest is someone that I really didn't know much about previously, but I happened to watch a movie, and you'll hear this story. Dashing Home for Christmas. Paniz Zade is a lovely actress, an incredible woman, and it was such a joy and delight to get to chat with her. This goes a little different direction than you might expect based on those clips you heard at the beginning. She's a fantastic Canadian actress, which you've probably seen in some movies, and you may not even realize it. She's been in some other stuff as well. So just sit back, enjoy, relax, and savor this new episode of Media from the Heart. Well, I just want to welcome everybody here for another episode of Media from the Heart. And my name is Ruth Hill, and I'm your host. And I am so very thrilled to have another wonderful guest with us today. And I'm going to introduce her to you. Her name is Paniz Zade. And she was born in Tehran, and she moved to Canada when she was 10 years old. She is a Canadian actress. Her parents were determined to provide their two daughters with every opportunity the world had to offer. It was tough, but it wasn't always easy for them. They were hardworking and they deeply loved one another. And as a result, they succeeded and their daughters thrived. And we have Paniz here, one of their daughters, who is a fantastic actress. I was blown away. That's why I reached out to her. And she is known for The Handmaid's Tale and Blood and Treasure, amongst some other movies and shows. Actually, I first saw you, Paniz, first of all, that I realized that I'd seen you was Dashing Home for Christmas. I had the chance. Okay, so here's the story. Let me just give you the background. I had recorded this movie back in 2020, and it sat on my DVR for over a year. Because I have all these movies. I have loads of movies that sit on my DVR, and I say, I'm going to watch those later. And so it was one I thought, okay, I want to watch this movie. I don't want to delete it. Well, it came to early January, and I'm thinking, I know Christmas is past, but I want to watch a Christmas movie. So I went all the way back on my DVR, and I'm like, Dashing Home for Christmas. I wonder what this one's like. And you blew me away. I could not stop thinking. I came into it thinking, this is going to be typical rom-com. It's going to be okay. And then you and your co-star totally blew me away. I was mesmerized. I fell in love with your characters and the way you did it. It was absolutely fantastic. And I just could not get you out of my mind. I kept thinking, I need to reach out to her. I wonder if I could bring her on as a podcast guest, because she just is so fantastic and so beautiful. And I do mean that. You are gorgeous. And even more gorgeous as I'm getting the chance to sit here and look at you. And you have a beautiful spirit, and you are incredibly talented. So I just am so grateful, Paniz, that you are here. Thank you for agreeing to come on my podcast.
Thank you, Ruth. Oh my goodness. That was so everything you said. Oh my gosh. I am so happy to be here. Thank you for reaching out and all the kind things you have to say. As an actor, it's always nice to get, some extra validation. So I appreciate it.
Well, that's good. I'm very glad. I knew when I looked at you, I was actually trying to figure out as I'm watching the movie, what is her ethnicity? I said, that was really my first thing. So I was glad that when I did the research. So you were born in Tehran, which is in Iran. That's correct, right?
Yes, yes. I'm an
Yeah.
immigrant.
Okay, right, right.
Yeah.
And according to what I read, you were 10 years old when your family moved. Is that right?
Yes. So when I was 10, we moved to Vancouver, BC, actually. So I grew up in Vancouver and made the move to Toronto about 5 years ago. I'm still kind of back and forth. I go to the West Coast quite a bit as well. But yeah, so I'm originally from Iran and then a West Coaster.
Okay. So do you know, was there any reason that your parents made the decision to move?
Well, I think they just wanted to provide a better life for their daughters. I think that's probably the priority because it's quite a sacrifice to pick up your life in your mid 40s and go to a whole new country and try and rebuild your life essentially. I remember not really understanding and like not really wanting to leave at that time when I was 10. I was like, what do you mean? I just have to leave school. I'm leaving my friends. I'm leaving everything I love. What is there in this Canada place? And it's so silly because I was like, oh, I'm gonna live in an igloo. Like that's actually I thought I was gonna come to Canada and that's I know it sounds so ignorant. I had no idea, but that's kind of you just hear as a Middle Eastern person, you hear, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be so cold," and all I cared about as a 10-year-old was my friends, this home that I loved because I was still too young to kind of understand how many more opportunities there was in Canada, and I am so grateful to my parents every day that they made the move and they made that sacrifice so that I can pursue something like acting. Not that you can't do it there; it's just there's just there's a it feels like everything is limitless here. You really if you I truly believe that if you put your mind to something here in North America in the free world, you can do it. So yeah, I'm very grateful to them. I love Canada.
Oh, I love Canada too. I love Canadians. I mean, not that I don't love. I mean, of course, being American, of course, I love my country too. But I have
Of
absolutely
course.
loved getting to go to Canada. I have not been to Toronto yet. It is one of the places that's on my bucket list that I want to go to. I need to go to Toronto. I've made plans to go there, and then COVID kind of adjusted those plans, as I think so many of us
Of
can
course.
relate
Yeah.
to. Why? What was it that caused you to want to pursue a career as an actress?
Well, I think I always loved I really loved making people laugh. I remember being really young and like being at I have this like vivid memory of being at a wedding and it was like, I don't know, distant relatives or something. And I just walked up and I grabbed the MC's mic and I told a joke. I think it was an inappropriate joke if I remember. And everyone laughed. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is, I felt like I got a high from it being like, oh my gosh, like I made these people laugh. And I always like I was involved in drama in school, in high school, but I never thought it was something that could be a career. Even after I graduated high school, it was kind of like go straight to university. It felt like there was always that plan for me. You finish high school, then you go get your degree, and then you probably go get like your undergrad and then go get your master's or something. So I was actually on the path to become a lawyer. That was my plan. I went straight to university and I got my degree in communications and political science. And then I was like, okay, lawyer, what kind of law? And I wanted to get into entertainment law, which is so funny because I actually think it was just the movies and television shows that I watched. And I was like, probably watching Suits or something and being like, yeah, this is what being a lawyer is like. So slowly that became entertainment law became entertainment broadcasting actually. So I got my degree and then I kind of felt like my security blanket was gone because for so long when you're in school people are like, "Oh, what are you doing?" You're like, "I'm in school." You don't really have to think about the real world and what your life becomes afterward. But I did a little internship at Global News, which is a Canadian news station. And I was like, "Oh, entertainment broadcasting, maybe that's what I." So I felt like I was just making my way slowly to get in front of the camera and be an actor. And um, I realized broadcasting wasn't really for me. And one summer, I decided for fun to take a acting class. I was kind of doing commercials like while I was in university, just here and there. It was never like, it was just more so to like pay the bills. I was like, oh, I'll do a commercial here and there. It wasn't going to be my career, but I took this acting class, and my acting coach to this day, I see him sometimes, Mr. Andrew McElroy. That class was amazing. I was blown away by the talent that was there, and just watching all these actors. And I don't know, he always calls it when the belly kicks and you kind of know. And I just sat there and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. And I felt like I kind of found the beginning of my path. It was very scary, especially telling my parents, hey, not a lawyer anymore. I'm going to go be an actor. They're like, what? Yeah. So that's how it started.
And bringing up your parents, yeah, I was just thinking that probably, especially maybe with your Middle Eastern background, that would probably not be a normal thing for your daughter comes to you. Well, I'm going to be an actress, and I could imagine, and you've been studying to be a lawyer, so I can imagine that it was probably a bit of a shock to to them, maybe when you told them.
Yeah, for sure. I think they say there is like four different things that you can be as an Iranian, which is doctor, lawyer, engineer, and disgrace to your family. And I think I was number four.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Which
oh.
is no. I mean, that's just me making a joke of it. But yeah, usually it's like, you go to school and you get these kind of secure jobs, which is being a doctor, engineer, lawyer. And like, I come from a family of academics. Like, my dad was an engineer, and the acting thing, it scared them at first, but I feel like deep down they always knew, because they knew how creative I loved like painting, and I loved like drama, and they were actually very, very supportive with me creatively. Like, I had more pencil crayons than toys growing up. Like, they were very aware of that. And I think now that, I've been getting a little bit more work under my belt, and they're seeing the actual results from it, they're like really, gung ho. And they, if anything, in those days where I'm feeling doubt, or I'm like, oh my gosh, and acting gets tough sometimes, they're the ones that are like, no, you've chosen this path, you keep going, like tunnel vision. So that's really nice.
Okay, no, that's great. And that's oftentimes not just even culturally speaking. I mean, I hear this from people who their parents just wanted them to be a doctor or a lawyer, and then it happens that their child ends up going a different direction. But then usually, almost always, the parents come back and say, oh, okay, we're going to support our child, and we're not. And so that's always good to hear. It's good to hear that with, I think every single person I've ever interviewed, their parents have finally come around, which is always a good thing. That's what you would hope, is that your parents
Totally
finally come around and say, okay, well, we'll go with, we'll support you in this. Then what was your first on-screen role once you made this decision? I mean, I know you were involved in some commercials, but as far as an actual on-screen role, what was your first on-screen role?
My very first one was actually a sitcom called Package Deal that was shooting out of Vancouver. I think it went 2 seasons, and it was actually very cool because it was a live audience. So it was a 3-camera comedy. So as we were shooting the episode, so I was a guest star for one of the episodes. There was a live audience, so it was kind of a mix between TV and theater, which was really exhilarating. Because as much as you get to do more than one take, obviously, still, but you kind of see what works. And because it was comedy, it was interesting because I love comedy of any kind, and just getting the reaction like, oh, okay, that line worked, and the people would be laughing, and then you try it a different way a second time. Yeah, it was really fun. Great cast and crew, and that was the first time I got a taste of it. It was a little scary. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know the set lingo, and I was just trying to play it cool, like I knew what I was doing. It's like, oh
Right.
yeah, I belong here. I know what I'm doing.
Well, you're not alone on saying that. I can't tell you how many actors I've talked to that their first time, even ones that have been trained and they've gone through all the education, they still don't, you still, I, I, I would venture to say, and I would agree with this since I'm also, I was a teacher for many years. I was actually a music teacher for many years. And
Oh wow,
yeah,
very cool.
yeah. But I think that there's nothing there. You can take all the schooling and you can get prepared, but there's nothing like getting actually put there. And because I can even speak from experience with being an educator. When I was preparing to be in the classroom, uh, not everything could prepare you. You could have all the theory and all the right terminology and everything, and then when you get in front of those kids on the first day, it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And I think
Yeah.
that and that's almost what I'm hearing from you, and that's what I hear from a lot of my actor friends is that first time when there's, even though even the ones that have taken all this acting classes, there's nothing like then you're actually put in the field and you're there
Mhm.
and so yeah, and you want to try to act cool like, oh yeah, I know what's going on, yeah, but then
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah, you just get thrown in. Like you just get thrown in and you just have to, yeah, just keep swimming and just tell yourself it's okay, just act, like be an act you're an actor, but also act like you know what you're doing. So you're just doing a lot of acting on the day.
exactly, right. Well, I think that advice is not just for acting. I think that's something that can carry over into other sectors as well, other different jobs that, because nobody knows everything when
Absolutely.
you're first doing that, and if you just jump in and start doing it and you learn as you go, I think that's the best experience. So yeah, but so
Exactly.
then what was your first like significant role, the one that that, and what I mean by significant, something that was maybe
Meteor a little bit.
yeah.
Mm. Um, well, there was actually there was a Netflix series that was shooting in Vancouver, and I remember that was like my first bigger job where it's an anthology series, and I was in one of the episodes, so I was the lead of that episode. Like there's a male lead that kind of does each episode, and I was the guest star of that episode. So it was like the most work I had to do. I was there for quite a few days and it was a really, really cool role. But it actually, this was like this was like quite a while ago, but it has yet to get released or it's been shelved by Netflix. So I actually haven't seen it, but the work itself was, it was when I felt the most like the very first time where I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many lines to memorize. I have to be prepared. And I was there with like a lot of pros and I just had to keep up. And it was really fun. It was like a dark comedy, which was good.
Wow,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I hope it still comes out. I hope one day it comes out, or I don't know if Netflix, I have not heard anything since. So I don't know. But that was probably
Oh my
the
goodness.
one that challenged me first.
Wow. That's not, it's just crazy when those kinds of things happen. I know I hear it. I hear stories about how people, they were a guest star and then their part got cut, and they were all
Oh
ready to
yeah,
watch it. And they're
totally.
telling their family, and they're all ready to watch
Yeah.
it.
Oh
Oh,
gosh. Yeah, it's almost like I get this thing. Sometimes I don't even want to talk. Like I'll book a job and I don't want to even talk about it until the day I show up to set and I'm on the mark. Because even then, you're like, there's a chance I might get fired. So you're still kind of like
yeah.
hoping. Yeah, it's good to not count your eggs before they hatch. I think sometimes because that happens. You're like, come and see me, and you're just not in it at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, it's interesting. As I looked up what some of your works were, and I know we've mentioned a couple here. So I finally, I I will say I think you inspired me because I know I was getting ready to interview you, and there's this show that I've been wanting to watch, and I tried to watch it a couple of years ago, and I got interrupted and never got back to it. So I'm now watching The Handmaid's Tale. I
Oh,
finally, and I was like, whoa, 5 seasons? How did it get to be 5 seasons? I didn't think it'd been that long.
yeah.
Well, last night, I got through. This time I got through the first episode because I had gotten interrupted and never got back to the first episode, so I got through to it, and I was like, oh my goodness, that series. I know I've heard all the stuff. I've interviewed people who have been, done guest starring roles and stuff in the show, and that that is incredible. And I know that you've had an opportunity to be a part of that show as well.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was like a dream come true in so many ways. Because so that show actually shoots in Toronto. So when I first moved to Toronto, that's when I think it had just started. And I just remember watching it. I think I binged the whole like first season, like probably in a day or two. And it's heavy stuff. So you actually do have to kind of take breaks from it. But I remember I messaged my team and I was like, hey, I'm obsessed with this show. Even if there's just like one line or I'm a background person where I walk behind someone and I just give a little wave, I want to please get me an opportunity to read for this show. And it happened. And it was actually my only audition that I've had for The Handmaid's Tale. And it ended up going my way. And I got to work opposite Elizabeth Moss, who's someone I really admire. I think she's incredible. And she was so cool and down to earth and just welcoming, as being a lead of an Emmy, like just such a big show. Sometimes you're nervous, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm showing up. You don't know what to expect. And she was so welcoming and wearing so many different hats because she's an executive producer as well. So you would be doing a scene with her and then she would go and like look at the monitors and give her notes and come back. And yeah, it was a really, really cool experience. That show is amazing.
Oh, and you're right. That show is very heavy because it was after I watched the first episode, it was like, okay, I need to go do something that's a little bit happier just for because I couldn't quite. I was like, I don't want to go to bed having this.
Yeah,
that'd be the last thing. And then I woke up thinking about it, and not in a bad way, just like, wow, that is such a deep, heavy, but such an incredible show. There's so much there, and
it definitely lingers for a while after you watch. If it stays with you for a bit, so it's always a good idea to not watch it right before bed.
Right? Yeah, I think I learned that. I know. It's like, whoa. And I will definitely continue watching the show, and I'll be looking for your episode. And so, what season did we find you?
I am in season 3 and I play a Martha.
Oh,
so
okay.
You'll see me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I will be keeping my eyes open. Yeah, I understand that terminology. If people haven't seen Handmaid's Tale, they may want to look that up as to what that is. But okay, I will definitely get there because I was blown away.
Yay. Yeah, take your time, though. Do it slowly. Yeah. Do not binge a whole season like I did.
I understand why you binged a whole season, of course, because being an actress. I mean, I think that it's you've got to know what's out there, and so I'm sure that so yeah, I get that.
It's homework. That's what I always tell myself when I'm spending too much time in front of the screen. It's homework. I'm doing work. So.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Justify it that way.
Right. But interestingly enough, I did watch Blood and Treasure. And so that means that I would have seen you. Now, can you remind us of what your character is in Blood and Treasure?
So my role is Zara Farouk. I'm towards the end of the season, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but basically I'm an Egyptian tomb raider.
Okay.
So it's really cool.
Okay.
And I got to shoot it in Morocco, which was such a cool place. I'd never been. It was amazing. Yeah, good.
Oh, cool. Well, because I actually happened to interview Antonio Cupo. Do you know who he is?
Oh yeah, because he does quite a
he had
quite a few Hallmark.
because he's good friends with Paul Green, my employer. So that's
Mhm.
actually how that connection. He's done a lot of Hallmark stuff, so there's all this. But Blood and Treasure was one of those shows that I remember going into it thinking, I have no idea what this show is going to be like, and then I just loved it. I absolutely loved it,
Yeah.
and now it looks like they might actually be getting ready to do a second season. Is what I
Yeah, I think I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't really been in touch with anybody from that show, but like it's a show that shot all over the world. Like
right.
they were in Rome, they were in Paris, they were in Morocco. So I have a feeling the pandemic probably caused some problems for them. So I don't know. That's just my guess. Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. I know when I talked to because I talked to Antonio, that was like over a year ago, and
Mhm.
he said that it's supposed to be coming back for a second season. We just like that's what he had heard from, and
Right.
it
Yeah.
sounds like when I did some research, it sounds like it might actually be filming again, possibly. So that
Yeah,
would be
maybe
great.
they're
Yeah, I
Mhm.
would because it was a great show, and how cool. Oh man, Morocco. Oh my goodness. I that's part of the
Yes.
world I haven't. Now, interestingly enough, I have been to the Middle East. I've been to a country
Oh,
that
wow.
a lot of people probably have not. A lot of Americans probably have not been to this country. I've been to the country of Yemen.
Wow. I mean, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I want to hear all about it because I've never been and I'd love to go. So
oh my
when,
goodness.
how I need to hear this.
Oh, Yemen, and it was back in 2000, so it was before 9/11, before any of the turmoil that's happening there. I know I read about the turmoil now, and it just breaks my heart because I can remember being there. Um, I was there for 3 weeks, and actually during the time that I was there was actually a serious terrorist thing that happened. I think or that they were thinking there was going to be, and then right after we got back, I think the coal disaster happened, and I mean, so there was all this that goes back quite a ways. I was there. I was married at the time, and I was actually there. There was a hospital that was um, in a village. So we were. I did go to the capital. I did go to Sana'a, but we were also in this mountainous village where there was a hospital, and it was run by the locals as well as there were some Americans that were there. And interestingly enough, it actually was a quote unquote missions trip, which is kind of interesting because which so that made it but it was not the purpose of proselytizing and that kind of thing. It's just a process of that's kind of how it was labeled, but only labeled on the American end and not the Yemeni end, of course, but was really great. The most exciting things for me where I got to interact with the women so much. I mean, I mean, the
Mhm.
first day I'm there, I got to go to a woman who had a baby, and I got to go to the party. Yeah,
Wow.
I know, and I mean, and you're all packed in there, and they're all, and it was just incredible. I mean, I was like, how do I get to do this? I went to a women's prison, which just broke my heart. I just absolutely broke my heart. But there was a group of women that would come to the prison, and they were teaching the women different life skills, and I could just remember. I mean, it was just so heartbreaking again but those are like the real standout things for me. I mean, there were a lot of other things, but I just going to the village, meeting the children. Every time I went to the village, of course, I was the Westerner, of course, so you can imagine, and all the children would come, and they all wanted to practice their English on me, and
Oh, I
and
love
so
that.
I know. So it really, it was a beautiful time. I love eating the best food on. Goodness.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Oh my goodness.
I
Yeah, it
miss
was. It
I
was.
miss the food in Morocco. It's
Oh,
some of the best food I've ever
oh yeah.
had. So yummy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will never forget getting fish from the market We took it to a restaurant and they seasoned it and blowtorched it. And it's the
Wait,
best.
okay. You buy the fish from the
Uh-huh.
market and then you take it to the restaurant? Wow. That is
I
so
was
cool.
I know, and it was because of the people that were there. They were established, and there. I was going around. I mean, we were the Westerners going around, but there were some Westerners that had lived there for a long time and had established and had lots of relations with people. But
Yeah.
blowtorched fish, I will tell you, that is an experience. I will never forget that as long as I live. The best fish I've ever had.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, anything that's like smoke like that, blowtorch. Ah, I feel
I know.
so envious. I'm gonna go buy fish right after this and get a blowtorch and see.
I know. So yeah.
Sounds so yummy.
So it's not I know it's not the typical experience, and I don't always have a time to share. But it was like, oh well, she's from the Middle East, so I could at least
Yeah.
share that.
I mean, I wish I had been. I wish I could say I've been to more places in the Middle East, and I haven't even been back to Iran since I was 16. So I would love to go back again at some point. Unfortunately, after I don't have a whole lot of family left there, like after my grandparents passed. So I feel like already. I mean, you've seen more of the Middle East than I have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. I mean, Sana'a was more like being in. It was very westernized when I was there, and
Yeah.
of course the toilets. That was an experience. It's always it's always.
Oh, was it a hole? Was it a hole? And then you actually have to.
Yep.
I mean, we
Oh
don't have to
yeah.
get into details, but okay.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. We
I
had.
remember even as a I remember even as a kid, some of the public bathrooms would be like that, and I would just refuse. I was like, nope, I'll, I
Yeah.
will wait to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we sometimes we were fortunate, and we were staying in what we called the Western compound, where everything was very wet. We had the Western conveniences, but
Yeah.
if you went out,
It's an
yeah,
experience, you
yeah,
just, it's an experience. You learn so much. I think there's just so much of the world to see there, and I think honestly, breaking bread with somebody that you think is going to be so different from you, like you can just learn so much from them. And you can, as long as you have an open mind and you kind of sit down and you realize that there's actually, we're all, we're all so similar, and everyone wants that connection. That's really what it's all about. So yeah, I love traveling. I really hope I get to go to more places. And now Yemen's on the list. So thank you. Gonna put that
there
on the
you
bucket
go.
list.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Eat blow-torched fish in Yemen. Perfect.
Yes. Yes. I don't know how you can make that happen, but man, it's a memory. It's a memory I'll not forget.
When I do, I will make sure you're the first. I will message you and I will let you know.
Okay,
That's gonna
that
happen.
sounds like a plan. That sounds great. Um, So you have had the opportunity of also being in some of these romantic Christmas comedies, because
Mhm.
I think you did three in 1 year, isn't that?
It was actually 2020. It
Yeah,
was the pandemic year. That was like my Christmas year,
yeah,
which was really nice. Christmas in the summer.
right. So now that I know that you have this comedy background, which I know, which that was really interesting to hear you talk about that, because lots of times I don't hear that. I hear people, yeah, they just want to be in the dramas, and they're not, because comedy is harder than people realize. That much I did know.
Mhm.
I know it's not like you've got to have that comedic timing, and it doing the
Mhm.
intense dramas. I know they require a different sort of acting, but I know
Mhm.
comedy can be. You guys make it look easy, and it's really not nearly as easy as people think.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Yeah. I think it's like the pacing, the timing, like you said, for sure. And actually, I think the best way to play comedic and be in comedies is to find the drama in the comedy. So everything is actually so dramatic in the comedy, which is I think actually one of the things my coach Andrew would always say. He's like, find the drama in the comedy. So, but it is kind of like mathematics in a way of like when to hit what beat, how many times can you um, say this one thing. Yeah, I mean, I love drama too. I just kind of love every genre, but I think comedy is just it's just fun when
Yeah.
people are laughing. Sometimes even when you're in the middle of it and you make yourself laugh or your co-star and you can't even keep a straight face. And I'm sure the director probably doesn't love it sometimes, but it's always a good time.
There you go. Um, so what was it like then, since that was your first time to do a romantic comedy? Is that right? Doing those?
um well, actually I did a couple episodes on a show called The Wedding Planners, which is
Oh,
also a
okay.
romantic comedy. And yeah, so that was the first time I did a romantic comedy where I kind of was this bridezilla.
Okay.
But it was yeah, so that was the first time, but this one was the first romantic comedy movie that I did. And yeah, it was really fun. It was actually like a crew that I had worked with before, and so it was just like a amazing set to come to every day. My co-star Adrian, he was awesome. We had a really good time together. That's always nice when you have to spend so much time with somebody and you're kind of, you know, you can kind of get on the mark and like have it be easy. So that was really nice. Yeah, it was really, really great experience. It was in like a middle of a heat wave in Toronto where we had to pretend it was winter. So that part was a little bit a little difficult because you're wearing layers and you're wearing gloves and toques and scarves and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cold.
Right. Right. And that seems to be a common thing. It seems like very rarely are Christmas films filmed during the cold. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're always getting filmed in the middle of a heat wave, in the middle of summer, and
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. Um, but
We make it work.
yeah, you do, and and you two, in like with Dashing Home for Christmas, you two made that work. Now, I'm not saying yeah, everybody working together did, but you two really made took what could have been just this normal story. I mean, there are so many movies out there of we had a delay, okay, our flight got delayed, or there was bad weather, or there's all these different things. So many stories out there. And so when I read the description, that was why I was kind of like, okay, is this really good? Is this going to be any good? I don't know. I wasn't familiar just with the names. I wasn't familiar with that. But then I thought, okay, let's give it a try. And you two truly brought that story. You made it your own. It was a similar story to so many, and of course, we knew how it was going to probably end. But you took us on a real journey and made it lots of fun.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's very kind of you.
it was fun. And I actually have seen the other two movies. The other two movies, your roles were not uh, quite as prominent as that one. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, so there was one that was Lifetime Santa Squad that I did where I was the evil girlfriend of the lead.
Yes.
So it was kind of I would say it was something like Parent Trap meets The Sound of Music
Yes.
kind of thing, and that it was such a fun role because I do think sometimes when you are a supporting role in those movies, you kind of have actually more room to play. Sometimes you can be a little bit bigger, a little more extra, and that character Kimmy,
Yeah.
she was definitely an extra, and she was just
Oh yeah.
so that was really fun. And then in the other one, Christmas in the Rockies, I played the lead's best friend,
Right.
which was also a super super fun role. And I actually have worked with the lead in the past, so it was again, it was really nice to kind of work with someone that I already had some sort of a rapport with.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I've actually seen them all, but you see, it wasn't until I try to really pay attention to the supporting cast, but sometimes for whatever reason I just don't think about that person. But see, then it was like once I saw you in Ash Home for Christmas, it's like, oh, now I got to see what else she said. Oh, she was this. So I'm starting to realize that I saw you in many more things than just Dashing Home for Christmas. I mean, I see that as like that was when I finally realized who you were. But I've been actually seeing you in things for a little while. So that was a fun thing to realize, and the fact that you're versatile and you don't always play the same kind of role. It's like, yeah, and I think
Hmm.
that's what I really like. That was, I think, what drew me to you as well, is you don't fit the mold of the typical, um, you have that stereotypical thing of this is okay, this is who we usually cast in the leads for a romantic Christmas movie, and you didn't fit that. In fact, with the Dash of Christmas, neither one of you fit the typical, and I
Hmm.
love that, and I think that's another thing that drew me in. And so, and I really appreciate that. It was actually one of the things I was so excited when I was like, oh, I get to have somebody who's really diverse and a little bit different on my show, because that's
Hmm.
very important to me. So I'm glad that you're a part, that you bring that element to to the table, and it's not just, and so I appreciate that. I enjoy that so much.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. That really means a lot. I think I mean, I can speak for myself, and I'm sure I know a lot of actors that that's kind of, you don't want to be typecast. I know I want the chance to play a lot of different roles and step into a lot of different shoes. And sometimes it is hard because you do a role, and then producers, direct, like everybody just kind of sees you in that light. And I think it's important, and I think that's just really the fun of it. I don't want to be doing the same thing forever. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. I think having a range, and like I say, I love comedy, but I love doing something dark like The Handmaid's Tale, and like maybe play a superhero one day. So I'm just putting that in the universe.
There
Hi,
you go.
Marvel.
There you
Do you see?
go. Why not?
Gal Gadot, are you wanting to step aside from Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot? I'm
There you
here.
go. Why
But
not?
I like how I'm looking into the sky as I'm saying that. Like Marvel's just like my upstairs neighbor. They're like, yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do. I think that really means a lot. I think, yeah, I really hope that this career gives me the chance to play a lot of different roles and kind of get into the minds of different characters, and maybe they're not always the sweet leading romantic lead, and like I just did this, I wrapped this thriller right before Christmas, like at the end of last year, and that was a very different role than I've done before. It was the most physical acting I've ever done, and that was like one of the most fulfilling experiences as well, because I was so nervous going into it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of physical acting. I haven't done that, and it was. I always find when I'm afraid, when I'm kind of scared to do something scares me and makes me nervous. It actually always ends up being the most fulfilling because I've left my comfort zone, and then I end up surprising myself, which is always really nice. So yeah, I hope I get to do a lot of different roles.
Well, now I feel even closer to you, because you just mentioned about leaving your comfort zone, because that's something that over the past couple years I've really pushed out of my comfort zone. And that, like, I kind of live my life totally out of my comfort zone, as just on a regular basis now. That's just my way of life. It's like, if it's not uncomfortable,
Wow,
why do it, almost. And
I love that. And do
yeah,
you find just doors just open for you when you do that? When you right?
yeah,
Yes,
exactly. You
it's
would not,
miraculous.
you wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have a podcast. I started it just back in January, and I just jumped in and had no idea what I was doing, really. I just like, okay, I'm going to do it. And in fact, I say I started before I was ready, because if I had waited till I was ready, it never would have happened. I just jumped in and did it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times we're ready before we actually think we're ready. You just got to throw it's again going back to just being thrown into like, here you go, your first on screen job, and you don't even know where you are, who you talk to. And it's kind of the same thing. We end up surprising ourselves. And I honestly, I would not be able to tell that you started this podcast. You're, you're killing it.
thanks. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. No, I love that you said that about, we actually are ready. We don't realize we're ready, but we're actually ready, and we don't even know it. I love that. That's
Mhm.
that's a good way to think. I might steal that. I might steal that thought.
Yeah, go for it. Recycle it.
So this thriller you mentioned, is this the movie that you're not sure when it might be released? Is that
yeah, I just did some post for it a
okay?
couple weeks ago, but yeah, I think it will be a release this year. I just haven't gotten the green light to kind of share anything about it. All I know it will be Lifetime.
Yeah.
That's really all I know. Yeah.
Right. Right. Because when I looked at your IMDb, when I looked at that, I noticed this thriller, and I thought that looks like Lifetime, and it still doesn't have a release date yet, but we'll definitely be.
Oh, I didn't even realize that it was already on my IMDb.
I
Wow, you're ahead of
yeah.
me. I
What,
should
what,
gotta check
well,
my IMDb.
at least it was, unless they've moved it off. But I did see it. I can't remember, but it sounded like a Lifetime movie. So,
Mhm.
all right. Well, I know that Paula Cooley, she's like one of my top people. I say
No.
top. What I mean by that is she is so supportive. She's been to almost, like, I don't know if she's made it to absolutely every one of these. I can't remember for sure. I think
Wow.
she might have, but I bet that you have a question. I'm sure.
Yeah, I got my book.
Right. Oh, good. Okay. I'm gonna bring you down here.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi,
Yeah.
Paula.
Hello. I just missed Ruth. I just missed your first one because I didn't see it advertised, but I've been
Okay.
here for every other one.
Okay.
And that. So, what I wanted to know is, do you have to prepare differently for when you're doing one of these thriller movies that you're doing compared to a comedy or to uh, um, uh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
Christmas one or anything? Do you have to mentally get ready
Um,
or?
yeah, I think there's always like a different process. Like I find for me personally, I don't have one specific process that I approach with every piece of work that I do. I know I'm more of like an instinctual actor. Like I really like to stay present and be in the moment. I don't like to premeditate beforehand. Like I like to read my script at least 2 or 3 times, the full script. Like that's really important to me. So I really want to understand the story. It doesn't matter if it's a thriller, if it's a comedy, without memorizing my lines or anything, just to go through it, kind of get to learn about all the other characters and what is driving my character. What do I love? What are my relationships to these other people? And then the process of everyone is a little bit different. I think as much as it is still being present and in the moment and kind of reacting off of whatever the other actor is giving me, like listening, I think listening is so important, listening to their offers. I find once I kind of know the story and I know my character and the relationships, everything else just kind of happens on set. Like it actually happens the day of. I think obviously, getting in the body is important. And I think even, sometimes with these movies, you're shooting so many pages as the lead of these things. It's like go go go, you do not get time off. So even if you have like 10 minutes in your trailer by yourself, I think sometimes it's more helpful for me to just like take that moment and like meditate or just like breathe. So I think it's more getting in the body, like listening to my body, getting in that kind of calm centered place. Like I find that helps me the most. If I'm just grabbing my script and lock and loading and trying to memorize, it has never worked for me. I think some actors can definitely do that. Yeah, but for me, I think it's just knowing the character well enough, doing my prep on that so that I can just let it go when I get to the mark and I can just trust, like, I am this character. I know this. I can react to whatever I'm given, basically.
What about when you're done with the movie? Does it affect you? Like some of them that I've read that you've done are like really dark for me. I mean, and I think I'd have nightmares for weeks on end. Now, when you're done, are you able just to walk away, or does that come off the set with you?
Sometimes it lingers a little bit. I mean, I've never had the experience where it stayed with me for a long time. I know, like, I think it's more imagination for me. Like I know there's like, method actors or there's different approaches that people do. I don't do that. I just kind of like to it's more like just using the imagination thing. It lingers for a bit, but I think by the time I'm in the transport coming home, I think if I just take a shower or a bath and I just sit with it, and journaling really helps me. So before going into a scene, just having like a stream of consciousness for three pages. I usually try and do that in the morning. It's kind of get everything out on paper. And I think once I'm done with a project, I always journal. I write the experience and I don't censor myself. No one's ever going to read that. And I never go back to read it, but it gets it out of me, I think. So I think that's been a healthy way for me to kind of approach the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you live up in Toronto. Is there more? I'm from Buffalo area, so we're neighbors.
Close. Yeah, I've been to a Buffalo Bills game.
Oh,
before.
good
No,
for you.
Super fun. It was very, very cool. Did the tailgating? Yeah, I did that. It was fun.
Oh yes. In the winter, you're sitting in the stand with snow all around you.
We did it in the summer. I think it was 2019 or 2018. We did it in the summer. So it was actually really hot, but I'd never experienced
Come
that
to
before.
a winter one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, really? Okay. Toronto's been preparing me for cold winters. So yeah.
And we're the best tailgaters in the world.
I mean, I don't have any other experience, but it was something. I was like, oh my gosh, like it was amazing. Buffalo is very cool. I would love to go again.
You're known for it.
Yeah.
But so is Toronto starting to come out again now? Are you able to move around a little bit easier? Are you able to go to dinners or to theaters? Are the theaters opened?
So as of January 31st, they loosened the restrictions again. So it did actually open up again, but we were on a lockdown up until last Monday. Was it last Monday? Okay. Yeah. So now gyms are open again. We can go to restaurants. There's still like half capacity. So even like I went to a spinning class this morning, and the class would usually be packed, but there was only like 50% capacity. So I think slowly, hopefully, things start opening back up. Yeah, I know Toronto's really I know, same.
I want to get over that border so bad, and I can't yet.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
So how about the acting part of it now? Are you able to get are jobs being offered in Toronto for your actors?
It's starting to get really busy again. Obviously, usually like before Christmas, it just kind of dies down. And then beginning of January is a slow start. This January was definitely a slower start than ever before, I felt, because one, we were on a lockdown. So I had a few auditions here and there in the beginning, but mostly for the States or in Vancouver out on the West Coast. And now it's all starting to start up again. So yeah, I've heard some productions, they just like they haven't gotten insurance because of COVID, and a lot of the stuff that we're reading for now, it's projected to shoot in May or June. So there is quite a bit of time. I know with some of these TV movies, they're still going because there is more of a formula with that. You usually know how many days it's going to be, and it's a little bit more clear cut than a series, for example, where you have, you're shooting like 13 episodes and you don't know. And so yeah.
Do you have a preference between the movies and the series that you like to audition for?
I think for me, it just always comes down to the role. It's not so much the plot. I think if I like the role and the story and it's something that excites me, I love movies and I love TV shows. I just love both. It's hard.
Yeah.
I love just like sitting and binging a whole show, but then like a good movie night, it's just so comforting. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering my question.
Thank you, Paula. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Maybe someday we'll run into you up in the stadium or in Toronto.
in the winter tailgating. I will bring the blowtorch fish.
Okay.
That's good.
Very good.
Thank you, Paula. Yeah, Paula.
Thank you so much.
She's so great. So I just want to ask you, as we're wrapping up here, I know you mentioned visual art as well, that's something else that's a love of yours. And so, does that involve painting? Is that kind of what you're doing?
Yeah, painting. I love just acrylic on canvas. I like drawing and everything too. It's just that's been kind of my first love, like before acting or anything. That's just like pencil and paper. And like going back to my parents, they actually like allowed my very first childhood bedroom. My walls were covered with drawings, which is something that parents are always like, don't draw on the walls. But mine, they were so supportive, and they're like, here you go, here's a bunch of crayons. And if I had friends or family come over, they would draw something. Yeah, I love painting. I think it's important to kind of be. I like to stay creatively fulfilled in other things other than acting, because acting, there's so much that's out of your control. So it's really easy to get down on it sometimes, on, if you're not busy working for a period of time or auditions aren't coming through. I think just sitting by the phone waiting for your agent and manager to call can be, and I've been that actor, like I will be the first to admit. But so it's kind of nice if I have a different way to express my creativity. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it looks like Chad does have a question, so I'm going to bring him down here. And
hello, Chad.
Hello. I'm just getting ready to go into an acting class that I'm taking here.
Okay.
Oh, amazing.
I have a couple
nice.
minutes. And I just wanted to ask you, how did you go about getting your SAG card? Was it the commercials that you did when you were in college?
That's a good question.
No, I do not have my SAG card yet. I've been a part of, I've done a lot of SAG projects, but I'm still with ACTRA in Canada. Because as far as I know, once you, because I'm still living in Toronto, the benefits and everything, I wouldn't be able to use the benefits here while I'm living. So I'm hoping to move down to the States as soon as it kind of makes sense, and then I would switch over to the SAG or find a way to have both. Yeah.
So are you in some Canadian union? Is that what you're in?
Yeah. So it would be, I guess, the equivalent to SAG, but it's called ACTRA. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Is that getting into that? Is that similar to getting into SAG, where you have to do commercials or background work or something to qualify?
I think there's different levels, as far as I know, to become a full. So there's an apprenticeship, and then there's a full ACTRA member. So I think in order to just be an apprentice, you only need maybe 1 or 2 credits for film and TV. And then to become a full ACTRA member, you have to have a few more. I mean, they do change the rules like every year. So when I did it, I think I was eligible to become an ACTRA member after my fourth credit, maybe, for film and TV.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just always curious how people get started.
No, that's
nice. What kind of acting class are you? Taking?
I'm getting ready. It's over Zoom. It's a cold read class.
Oh, okay, cool. I love a good cold read. That's like that instinctual, trusting. It's fun.
Yeah.
No expectations, but it's good. That's exciting.
That's right. And no homework. That's what's nice about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have the same process.
There you go. Oh, Chad, I'm so glad that you had time to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I just learned something, because I wasn't even clear on all that. You actually explained more about the different unions than I've probably ever heard. That was fascinating for me. It was like, okay, now I can understand, because
I still don't know it all.
but your description, just that little conversation, that was actually a nice treat for me. And the thing, that's what I love about these podcasts and these interviews, is that you never know where we might end up. We might just go a completely different direction. And I wasn't planning to tell you my blowfish fish, not blowfish, but blowfish fish story. So it's like, that's really cool. So,
I'm so happy you did.
Yeah. Well, I am just so grateful that you were a part of this, Paniz. I'm so glad. I have had a blast getting to chat with you and getting to learn more about you. And so thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. Oh my gosh. Thank you. You have such a beautiful, open energy about you. It's really, really great. It's coming through my Zoom screen right now. So.
Well, thanks. I'm glad. I absolutely just love hearing everybody's stories, and I love getting to highlight I always talk about how I love to interview the leads and stuff. That's always great. But I love it when I can find someone that maybe you've seen them in things, and you've probably seen them in a whole bunch of things, but you may not know their names the moment you see them. Those are the people that I just love to search out, and I get drawn to those people. And so that's kind of then how I found you. It was really neat to be able to.
I'm so happy you did. Thank you.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad it worked out, and so. I just want to thank you, Paula, Chad. You were great. I know you were my only two audience members, but you were great members. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's been very interesting.
Paula.
I'm gonna look up your movies. I'm gonna watch them now. So I don't know about the thriller ones if I'll get through it. I'm gonna try.
Start with the Christmas ones.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll do
Thank
that.
you so much.
Yeah, thanks
All right.
for being here. I saw the Santa Squad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I swear I'm nothing like Kimmy in real life.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you again, Paniz. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and have a great week. All right.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay, all right.
Bye, Ruth.
Bye-bye. Bye. Well, what did you think? I would love to hear your thoughts about this particular episode. I realize I'm always raising the bar, or at least that is my goal, is every time you come to hear another episode, to watch it on YouTube, that you are getting a better quality experience. My virtual audience has been absolutely incredible. Right now I realize I'm a little bit behind on releasing these episodes. Things have been busy with my day job, so that's been part of the issue. But I just want you all to know that I appreciate you more than you realize, and I'm committed to bringing you quality entertainment, quality education, quality inspiration, the highest quality I can possibly give you. I would love it if you would look up this podcast on Apple Podcasts and follow me there. And also, if you could give me a review, rating, I'd love it. Any feedback, join the Facebook group. There's lots of great people coming up, and you don't want to miss a single interview, I promise you. So thank you again for your incredible support. Thank you, Paniz. And I just want to wish all of you a blessed, glorious day. Bye for now.